Hello guys, we are going to see how to draw the graphs of the functions and their inverse of those functions. Okay. For that, I just need to tell you a little bit first, and then I'll take this example. Okay. Now we have already discussed that when we write the inverse of a function. Now suppose there is a function which is f of x, and this function is, let's say this is 2x plus 5. And we have the domain here. Let's say we have x, 0, 1, and 2. So the range is going to be, this is going to be f of x. That is going to be 5, 7, and 9. Now, when we write the inverse of this function, this becomes 2x plus 5, that is equal to y. 2x is going to be y minus 5, and x is y minus 5 over 2. Therefore, this inverse of x is now x minus 5 over 2. Now, if I show you this x and then f inverse of x, okay, now I'll be keeping this 5, 7, and 9 as my x. This is my domain. And I'm going to get, like you see, 5 minus 5, that is 0, 7 minus 5 over 2 is 1, and 9 minus 5 over 2 is going to be 2. So this was the domain here. And this one is now the range here. Okay. And the range over here has now become the domain. Okay. This is now the domain. Achha, if I ask you guys that, look, there was a point 0, 5, and now that point has become 5, 0. There was a point 1 comma 7, and now there is a point 7 comma 1. Okay, there was a point which was 2 comma 9, and this point is going to be 9 comma 2. Okay, so you see, if you look at this, the things inside this box, this rectangular, like this caption, what comes in your mind? Please tell me, what comes in your mind when you look at this? Something should be coming in your mind. Yes. Cubey. Ayla, can you tell us what is coming in your mind when you look at this? Fatma Rauf, is there anything hitting the waves of the ocean of your mind? Habib?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. What is that? Please tell us. Yeah.
Sir, sorry, can you repeat the question?
If you look at the things inside this caption, what comes in your mind? Is there anything that is hitting your thoughts or your imaginations or your perceptions or
Sir,
your...
ये inverse है दूसरे का.
We know that because we are dealing, this is the f of x, this is the f inverse of x. Okay, let me narrow it down. If you look at this pair of points or this pair of points, what do you have in your mind? What is coming in your mind? Okay, like I give you a hint, that is, it should be something related to your O-level mathematics.
The reflection हुई है.
Very good. Reflection, where? When you say reflection, you have
जब y is equal to x.
exactly.
Across.
This is basically, this is the reflection in y equal to x. But so all of you have done that reflection in y equal to x. Let me make you recall, you guys. What happens when you reflect a point in x-axis? What happens to the coordinates of that point? For example, here is a point which is a comma b. If you reflect this in x-axis, so what would be the coordinates of the image? Yes,
A comma minus
B
B.
comma A.
it is going to be a comma minus b because the x coordinate remains the same. The y coordinate sign changes. यार ना करो यार इतना दुख ना दो मुझे यार.
Sir, मुझे लगा था y equals to x मैं
नहीं,
पूछ.
अभी a comma b in x-axis. Look at this. This is going down the x-axis, across the x-axis. What if you reflect the same point in y-axis? What would be the image of this point here?
Minus A
Minus
B.
A
A
comma
This
comma
is
B.
minus, very good. So now you're recalling that. Now you see that the sign of the x coordinate changes. And when you reflect this point in your y equal to x, so you see that this point goes across, like, this comes here and this becomes b comma a. You must remember this, yaar. Don't you remember this? Let me show you this on the grid over here. Now suppose, let me draw the line y equal to x over here. The line y equal to x is going to be drawn here. Okay, so here is the line y equal to x. Okay, this is the line y equal to x. Okay, now see how we'll be reflecting these points in the line y equal to x. Now, all of you must be with me now. Now, the coordinates of this point over here, its coordinates are 4, comma 7. Look, it is going to go on to this point over here, and this point is going to be 7 comma 4. This point is on the line, so this will remain as it is. If you look at this point over here, I should change the color because he's having the same color. Okay, now this point will go across this line. It will be coming here. Now this point was initially 3 comma 2, and now you can see this is 2 comma 3. Okay, and similarly, look at this point moving across, and it is going to be over here. Okay, so if I draw a curve, this is going to be okay, this is something like this. So this curve in orange is basically the reflection of the blue curve in the line y equal to x. Okay, now tell me, what is the domain of this blue line here? This is starting from x equal to 1, ending at x equal to 7. So you see the domain is x is between 1 and 7. Now look at the range. The range is the y coordinate over here is -2 and the y coordinate over here is 7. Okay, so that means the range over here is going to be between -2 and 7. Okay, if you look at the domain for this orange curve over here, orange curve is starting from -2 and this is ending at x equal to 7. So the domain for the orange one, let me write this in red, that is going to be between -2 and 7. If you look at the range of this orange curve, this is going to be starting from y1 and going up to here. अच्छा एक गड़बड़ हो गई है. You people did not see that. You did not tell me that. Okay. The domain for this blue curve is from 1 to 4. It is not from 1 to 7 because this curve is ending here. This blue curve is ending over here. Okay. Can you see that? This curve has been drawn between 1 and 4. But can't you see that? What is the domain for this blue curve here? Hello? This is from this 1 to this 4. Okay? Now, you look at
1
this.
and 4.
Yeah, 1 to 4. And now you look at the range for the orange curve over here. Orange curve's minimum y coordinate is 1 and the maximum y coordinate is 4. So I will be writing this as f inverse of x is between 1 to 4. Okay? Now this is the range over here, which was the domain here. Can you see, bacho? Oye, bacho? Remember, we discussed this in our previous class that the domain of a function is the range for the inverse, and the range of the function is the domain of its inverse. Okay. Now this has been done here. He's showing this that the same has been done by the one who has written this book, this Cambridge University Press. Okay. Now, you must note it down that if you want to sketch the graph of the inverse of a function, okay, you want to sketch the graph of the inverse of a function, you have to reflect the graph of f of x in the line y equal to x. In the line y equal to x. So how can we draw the graph of the inverse of a function? You have to show this graph. You can reflect the graph of the function in the line y equal to x. That would be yeah, the reflection, yes, but a reflection in y equal to x. Okay. Now, when you are reflecting this in the line y equal to x, you have to show this line dotted. You have to make sure that both the graphs intersect on the line y equal to x. This is what you will give you the marks. Okay, you have to show that intersecting, both the graphs should be intersecting on this line of reflection, which is y equal to x. And you have to clearly show at least one point. Like you see, you must mention that, look, this point is 4 comma 7 and now this point is 7 comma 4. Or even you can mention this point over here. This point is 1 comma minus 2 on the function, and this point is minus 2 comma 1. Okay, I'm stopping here for your questions. Please make sure that this is very clear to you. So since the questions have been discussed, so we can move ahead now, clearing this. Okay, now let's look at this exercise, okay? And you see that how this in these inverse function graphs of inverse have been drawn, okay? So here is the exercise. You start this, okay? You have to do all these 4 parts of the first question. Start doing them right now.
Sir, if you're saying something, we can't hear you. Aap muted.
Oh God, I was. Uh, I can repeat what I have said here, that I have reflected this. This curve. First of all, I had the line y equal to x, and then um, I have shown here that the domain for the function is the range for the inverse, and the range for the function is now the domain of the inverse of this function. Okay, so I first of all had this line for y equal to x, and I made sure that this point 30 is reflected on, like this 03, this point 03 has been reflected onto 30, and then this point 60 has been reflected onto 06. So you see, we have to show this point of intersection as well. Both f and f inverse, they must be intersecting on the line y equal to x. Okay, so from here onwards, you people can move on to these questions 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and I'm here. If you have any problem, you will let me know. And for these parts, like the C, you can have a grid like this. Using the ruler, you have to draw this. Take a scale, like an even scale on both the axes, so that you can show the things being reflected accurately.
So one का D part कर देंगे.
One's D part.
Yes, sir.
Yes. What is the problem with that D part? Yes. Yeah. This is a bit difficult. I mean, situation, because the curve is looking more like y equal to x at a certain, for a certain interval of this. Look at this. Let me change the
Sir,
color.
it won't have an inverse.
Let me see. Let us see.
Sir,
Uh,
it's not a 1-1 function.
Oh, yes. It was not a one-to-one function. Um, it is not a one-to-one function. You're absolutely right. This is not a one-to-one function. So maybe we can draw that part of the curve for which it is one, for which it is one to one.
Sir, लेकिन अगर 1 to 1 ना भी हो, this curve still has a reflection in the y-axis. तो वो तो exist फिर भी करता है. It just won't be a function.
The reflection y equal to x. The reflection y equal to x. Okay, that is a good discussion. Let's see that why we cannot have the inverse. Look at this. We explained this to you yesterday, that we can have a one-to-one function, and then we can have many-to-one function. But one-to-many function is not a defined function. You see, when you reflect this, beta, this would look like something like this. Okay, so if you draw a vertical line through this, so this is going to be an undefined function, because you see there are 4 different y coordinates against this 4. This 4 has got 2 wives, which is very much prohibited. Okay, look at this 3. It has 2 different images. Okay, so remember, one to many is not allowed. This is undefined function. So that is why you see, if this is not a one-to-one function, you cannot have its inverse. So here inverse does not exist. Okay, inverse of this function does not exist. Okay, so this is totally wrong. Whatever we have done here, this is not allowed. Got it?
तो सर अगर इस तरह का क्वेश्चन आए तो हम ड्रॉ ही नहीं करेंगे ना, बस हम सिंपली लिख देंगे
Because you
ना
see,
कि
the
doesn't
question
have an.
says, I didn't read that properly. It says if it exists. Okay. So this will only exist if it's, um, I mean, a legitimate one-to-one function. Because the inverse is only possible if your function is a one-to-one function. Okay, so that was a good question to be. I didn't notice that. So it was a good question to for the discussion.
Okay,
Okay, from that, our first session finishes, and I have told you all about the sketches of the function and its inverse. The rest is your practice on it. Okay, thank you very much.